When my grandfather passed away last year, the whole family was devastated. He wasn't just the patriarch, he was the glue that held us all together. Every Sunday dinner, every birthday, every Christmas morning, it all happened because of him. He was old school, tough but kind, and the kind of man who believed that hard work always paid off. I was the closest to him. Or at least that's what I thought. Every summer I helped him with yard work, painting little fix-it projects around his property. He used to tell me stories about how he built his small fortune from scratch, flipping houses, managing small rentals, saving every penny. He used to say, "Son, real wealth isn't what you inherit. It's what you build." I didn't realize how literal that lesson would become. When the will was finally read, we all gathered in this stiff, oak-paneled office that smelled faintly of leather and old paper. My parents sat on one side of the table trying to look composed. My sister Sarah sat next to them, wearing this expensive cream-colored dress and a smug little smile that screamed entitlement. Then the lawyer cleared his throat and began reading. "To my granddaughter Sarah," he said, flipping a page, "I leave the villa on Palm Crest Drive, including all furnishings and land attached." Sarah gasped, her hand flying to her chest like she just won the lottery. My parents beamed at her, already proud. Then the lawyer continued. "To my grandson Ethan, that's me, I leave the property located at 412 Maple Avenue, currently used as a parking lot." I blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" The lawyer just nodded solemnly. "That's correct. The parking lot behind the Maple Strip Mall." My mom burst out laughing. My dad followed, slapping his knee. "Well, son," he said between chuckles, "at least you won't have to pay for a hotel. You can always sleep under the stars." Even the lawyer looked uncomfortable. Sarah smirked. "Maybe you can rent me a spot when I have guests over at my villa," she said, flipping her hair. I sat there, silent, a lump forming in my throat. My parents didn't notice, or maybe they didn't care. The parking lot was cracked, full of weeds, and half the fence had collapsed. I'd seen it before. It was the kind of place stray cats wandered into and junk cars were abandoned in. That night I drove there out of disbelief. The setting sun cast long shadows across the empty asphalt. There was a single street light flickering on and off. It looked miserable, forgotten. I remember whispering, "This is my inheritance?" I went home that night feeling like a failure. My sister had a mansion with a pool, and I had a patch of broken pavement. My parents were proud of her. Me. I was the punchline at dinner. For a week I moped around. I barely left the house. I scrolled through pictures Sarah posted of her villa, the marble countertops, the chandeliers, the massive kitchen island. She even captioned one photo, "Thanks, Grandpa. You knew who the real businesswoman in the family was." That hurt. Because I knew the truth, Sarah had never worked a day in her life. Everything she had was handed to her. I'd worked jobs since I was 16, but somehow I was still the lazy one in their eyes. But one night while I sat in my car overlooking that ugly lot, something clicked. Cars kept driving past. People were heading to the gym, the coffee shop, the grocery store nearby. The place had traffic, foot traffic, car traffic, potential. What if, I whispered to myself, my mind racing. What if I could turn this into something? I went home and started researching. Zoning laws, vendor permits, temporary structures. Within days I had a plan. I reached out to local restaurant owners, small ones who couldn't afford a storefront. I pitched them an idea, a food truck park. They could rent spaces from me for a small fee. I'd handle the permits, power, and maintenance. At first, everyone thought I was crazy. Even the bank teller who helped me withdraw my savings looked skeptical when I told her what it was for. But I didn't care. I bought 2 used food trucks, beat up, dented, and barely running. I fixed them myself, watched YouTube tutorials, even learned basic welding. Then I reached out to a taco guy I knew from the gym, Miguel. He'd been saving to open a restaurant but couldn't afford rent. "Bro, I've got an idea," I told him. "I'll give you space cheap if you take a chance on this." Miguel hesitated, but a week later his truck was parked there, sizzling carne asada filling the air. By the 3rd week I had 3 trucks. By the 2nd month I had 8. I laid down gravel paths, set up picnic tables I built from scratch, strung warm lights across the lot, and hired a local artist to paint a mural on the fence, a bright, colorful explosion that read Maple Food Park. The transformation was unreal. At lunch hour, office workers poured in. Families came at night. People brought dogs, dates, kids. It became the hangout spot. The place that used to be a joke became a destination. The first weekend we hit full capacity, I stood in the middle of the lot and just watched. The laughter, the music, the smell of tacos and burgers, all of it. It was beautiful. I was finally proud of something. Something I built. Then the money started rolling in. Within 2 months, I was making more than my old job had paid in a year. I was reinvesting every dime: better seating, solar lights, more trucks, a live music corner. Local news did a feature story. From empty lot to community hotspot, the headline read. That same night my mom called. "Oh honey, we saw you on TV," she said in this sugary tone I hadn't heard in years. "We're so proud of you." My dad chimed in from the background. "Looks like that parking lot's finally paying off, huh? Hey, maybe we should all go in together, make it a family business." I laughed thinking he was joking. But he wasn't. A few days later he showed up uninvited, clipboard in hand, and started inspecting my setup. "So," he said looking around, "how much are you making per truck? What's your overhead? You got insurance for all this?" I was polite at first, but it started to feel invasive. Then came the call that changed everything. "Son," he said, "your mother and I have been talking. We think it's time we help manage this business. It's getting big and we don't want you overwhelmed." I frowned. "Help manage? Dad, I'm fine. I've got it under control." "Well," he continued, "if we're going to help, we'll need a share. Maybe 40%. Just to make sure the money stays in the family. You know, for generational wealth." 40%? I repeated, almost laughing. "You didn't even believe in this idea. You told me to sleep under the stars." He paused. "Don't be disrespectful. We gave you life. We raised you. You wouldn't be where you are without us." Then my mom jumped in on another call. "Ethan, we're your parents. Good children share their success. Look at your sister, she offered to let us stay at her villa anytime we want. What have you done for us?" I clenched my jaw. "You laughed at me, remember? You said this was a joke. You gave Sarah a house and you gave me a joke. I made it work. I don't owe you anything." That's when Sarah called me. "Come on, Ethan," she said, her voice dripping with fake concern. "They're just trying to help. You should give them something. They gave you a great opportunity." "A parking lot, Sarah. That's not an opportunity, that's neglect." "Well, it seems to have worked out for you," she said. "So be grateful." I hung up. From then on, things got tense. My parents started gossiping to relatives, painting me as greedy and ungrateful. They told everyone I was shutting my family out. Meanwhile, I kept building. I bought the adjacent lot and expanded. I added a stage for live bands, a small farmer's market on Sundays, even an ice cream truck for kids. I employed local teens, partnered with charities, and sponsored community events. People called me the parking lot king. One evening, as the sun set and fairy lights flickered on, I stood with Miguel. "You did this, man," he said, patting my back. "From nothing." I smiled. "Grandpa used to say wealth isn't what you inherit. It's what you build." He nodded. Well, he'd be proud. Months later, my sister's villa went on sale. Turns out, she couldn't keep up with maintenance and taxes. She called me crying. "Ethan, can you lend me some money? Just for a while." I took a long breath. "Remember when you said I should rent you a parking space? Maybe now's a good time." She didn't like that answer. Today, my little food park generates over $1 million a year. I bought out the entire strip mall and turned it into a thriving community hub. We host concerts, night markets, and charity drives. The same parents who mocked me now come by pretending they always believed in me. I smile, shake their hands, and say, "You were right. You did give me a place to sleep under the stars." But now, those stars shine over hundreds of people enjoying what I built. So yes, Sarah can keep her villa. I'll take my worthless parking lot any day, because I turned it into a dream. And just like that, what started as a cracked old parking lot became the foundation of something much bigger, not just a business but a statement. That no matter what life, or even family, throws your way, you can build something beautiful from the ground up. If this story inspired you even a little, don't just scroll away. Hit that like button because it really helps this channel grow and reach more people who need stories like this. Subscribe if you haven't already, and press the bell icon so you'll be the first to know every time we drop another powerful story like this one. And now it's your turn. Jump into the comments and tell me, what would you have done if your family gave you an empty lot, while your sibling got everything? I read every single comment, and your thoughts might just inspire the next story we tell here.